Hello, everybody. My name is Dratnos, and today we have a very big post about housing rewards coming for the new player housing system that's coming at some point in the future, some point in the next year, I think, based on the roadmap they posted earlier. And so let's take a look at this article. Welcome home, adventurers. At the end of our previous article, we asked a few questions regarding the source of decorations and how professions fit in. Today, we're going to answer those questions, talk through our philosophies for housing rewards, and provide a few more details on the decoration economy. Before starting, we wanted to state our usual disclaimer: work in progress, names and details may change between now and launch, but this is directionally where we're aiming. We began our discussions by drafting a few guiding principles to inform our design. Number 1, progressive journey. Similar to our housing pillar of long-lasting journey, players should expect the collection of decor to be just that, a journey. The collection of the perfect room and house is something to strive towards, not to run to a vendor and complete on day one. Furthermore, this journey should be engaging and possible for most players, regardless of how hardcore or not they might be. Put another way, getting any single piece of decor should eventually be possible, but getting everything should be incredibly difficult. So it's sort of similar to like transmog, stuff like that, right? Like as it stands right now, transmog, if there's a specific piece of transmog you want, you can get it, and usually you know how to get it reasonably quickly. If it's like current mythic stuff or elite PvP stuff, those are kind of an exception, but everything else is basically always possible, and it's just like, oh, this might take a couple of resets of farming this or whatever to get it, or maybe it comes from, you know, some achievement or something like that. But then getting everything should be incredibly difficult, because ideally the reason that getting everything is incredibly difficult is because they put so much of this into the game that you just, you know, it's a huge game with 20 years of stuff now. Core gameplay with variations. Similarly, we want to reward decor through a wide variety of our core gameplay in World of Warcraft. We don't want it to come from only housing-specific activities, though some will, but instead meet you where you are, however you choose to enjoy the game, whether that's solo questing, crafting decor with professions and using the auction house, running dungeons with your friends, or raiding with your guild. Again, I think this makes a lot of sense. I think, you know, the exciting thing about, one of the most exciting things about housing is that this gives them another very exciting piece of loot that they can put into everything, right? You know, you think about what motivates you to go and do different content, and it's like, okay, well, they can make titles and mounts, but those are both kind of, you know, if there's a new patch that comes out and it's got 100 titles and 100 mounts, like, that's a lot, right? And that's a lot of work and stuff. But if it has 100 pieces of decor available, that's very feasible, right? That's much more realistic and still pretty compelling thing that they can put in as a reward for everything that you could potentially be doing in the game. So that seems good. And then finally, reverence for the past. Some of you have been playing for 20 years. We want that time to feel worthwhile. Your past adventures and time spent in Azeroth means your collection will have a leg up, and you won't start from square one when you first purchase a house. Also, great. I think it would definitely, this is one of those systems where it is kind of mandatory that it does go backwards and bring in all this stuff, not least because so much of the aesthetic of WoW comes from like Classic and the early days. But yeah, I think this is really encouraging thing to see here. So this all seems great. So what do they mean in practice? So starting off, it's about the journey, not the decoration. The progressive journey principle means the majority of our decor types, chair, bed, shelf, etc., are considered commodities and are readily available from vendors, other players via the auction house, questing, and so on. If you want a wooden chair, it's very easy and inexpensive to acquire. So this is like, I guess, kind of basic stuff, right? Like, if you just want a chair. Now, when they say wooden chair, right, like, you could easily imagine there being 50 different, slightly different looking wooden chairs, right? So hopefully there is that level of variety available, even if they're purchased from different vendors or, you know, slightly different recipes, right? Like, you've got the chair they used in BFA versus the chair they used in Wrath, right? And all of those are different versions. I think that would be a really good place for this to land, even if all of those are, again, fairly easy to get. Next, there's investment decor, which are generally more niche items in either theming, looks, or appeal, which require more time and or cost investment. Examples could be a sparkling fountain with particle effects or magical books that flap around on their own. So they don't say where, or I guess require more time and or cost investment. So maybe we'd be looking at, like, you know, they have these like gold sync mounts and stuff. So maybe we'd see some decor that, instead of costing 20 gold, costs 1,000 or 10,000 or something like that. And I'm sure they'll put in some, gold fountain or whatever that costs 2 million gold, something like that. But yeah, then the other time investment, they're showing here a crate of housing decor called the Argusian Crate that drops from Seat of the Triumvirate last boss as well. So dungeon loot, I guess, is in this space as well. Lastly, there are what we think of as trophies. These are things that require skillful play, cooperation with other players, and or larger time commitments. Think along the lines of M+ and raid rewards or long-term achievements. If you're looking to mount Anixia's head on the wall, you'll have to defeat her and take it. Also, I think this is something where when the decor system was first or when the housing system was first announced, I was very hopeful that this would be here as well. Some kind of thing to reward you for your achievements. When we talk about stuff like Anixia, killing Anixia is something that you can do extremely easily right now, right? So it's nice that you can go and get these even if you are a newer player. You didn't do this back in the day, but and then the current raid and M+ achievements and stuff being rewarded as well seems good. Again, I hope that there's a lot of players that housing is going to be the most exciting thing for them in the game that aren't going to be AOTC raiders and aren't going to be Keystone Master players. So hopefully they do a good job of making it so that if you are, there's some cool stuff you can get, but it doesn't feel like your house sucks if you can't get all of the the Keystone Master achievements every season and stuff like that. That'll be a tough balance to strike, but yes, just hopefully the trophies are the correct level of cool for that. One of the powerful aspects of decoration is that since it's cosmetic by nature, placing hard to acquire things throughout the game gives players reach goals that don't hamper their character development, and they're free to pursue or not, just like mounts and transmogs. That said, it should be easily possible to kit out your home on day one to strike the vibe you're looking for without too much effort. Your decor journey should start out awesome and continue to be that all along the way. This is good, right? There are some games where you get your house and you have like 2 pieces of decoration, right? And you can't... it takes a long time to actually make it have any kind of cool stuff where it's all pay to win nonsense or whatever. So yeah, hopefully that's, it sounds very much like they want there to be, tens of thousands of pieces of decor that you start with, a couple hundred or a couple thousand of on day one, just with your old achievements and stuff. Variety is the spice of life. When we were first drafting this article, there was a line that read, "Where can I get decor? Yes." While pithy, it's not far from the truth either when it comes to our second principle of core gameplay with variations, and here we've got a screenshot of something you can buy with Honored Reputation with Stormwind. Decor should come from everywhere and everything. We want you to find decor rewards in all sorts of gameplay, not just a single avenue you feel forced to interact with over and over. For example, while a specific jade-inlaid bookshelf might come from a particular quest in Pandaria, other bookshelves could come from vendors, professions, or other varied forms of content. So yeah, I would expect based on this, they'll probably go back and look at every single reputation in the game and put some decor on Honored and Exalted and stuff, and all of those different sources that you can get. Basically any place that, mounts and transmogs currently come from would be good places to also put decor, and that would be pretty exciting. Again, with the hopefully it's retroactive, right? Hopefully if I've done the quest that drops the bookshelf, then I get the bookshelf instead of having to go and do it again. I'm sure it works that way, though, because that's basically how things like that always work these days. Thanks, past self. Finally, the principle of reverence for the past encapsulates a few things. All the time spent in Azeroth is worth something. We're leveraging legacy reputations, professions, and more. So yeah, there's the confirmation that the legacy reputations matter, the professions as well. Hopefully most of the profession stuff is buy and sellable, right? Like hopefully you don't have to go and get, Northrend tailoring yourself, but you can instead buy the carpet or whatever from somebody who did, and more. If you've achieved something in the past, we want you to embrace that time spent. If you raise your reputation to Exalted, you'll be able to purchase their goods right away. If you completed an achievement 10 years ago that rewards a new piece of decor today, you'll be granted that piece of decor on login. Perfect, right? This sounds great. Again, hopefully it's the kind of thing where I think the important thing is if you're a person who started playing WoW in the past 2 years, or even somebody who hasn't started playing WoW yet, and this is an exciting system for you, hopefully it is still exciting for you even without all of this cool legacy stuff. and you can go and pretty easily get the legacy items that you want. I think a big part of this is going to be like a UI that makes it clear, right? Like if you search bookshelf in the UI, hopefully you can preview all of them, even the ones you don't have, and then you could see like, okay, this one that I really want drops from Blackwing Lair. What's a Blackwing Lair, right? If you're a player that didn't play back then, right? And then you can go and find, yeah, ideally even maybe even in the in-game UI, right? Like it can put you can click on where it comes from, and it can like open your map to where that is, right? And be like, okay, that's where I've got to go to get this thing. I think that's a really important thing for the people that haven't been playing for 20 years, and housing is going to be an important thing for them. I think that would be really good. Legacy decor should be well integrated into the appropriate existing content and not feel crowbarred in. For example, using the local systems and currencies of a piece of related content, such as Mechagon's junkyard tinkering, when it makes sense and it's as it's available. Again, makes sense. Stuff like protoform synthesis and junkyard tinkering and all that nonsense does seem appropriate for these systems. For me, I'm going to have to hop between all my characters, like, okay, which character did I play this patch on? Okay, that's the character that has all this stuff. Okay, let's go, check there. That's going to be a fun project when this comes out. People that have had one main for 20 years are going to have a good time, walk down memory lane for all this stuff. We're not going to have the Decor equivalent of transmog runs. We're still working through what this means in practice. Is it only available during time walking? Is there something more deterministic we can do, etc.? But the thought of someone farming a mount for years across multiple characters every week, finally earning it, and then being told, welp, time to go back and grind for the couch, is rough. We'd like to avoid this. Now, this is an interesting thing, because right up here we see the crate of Decor dropping from Seat of the Triumvirate. Now, Seat of the Triumvirate isn't a dungeon that is run for mount. I don't think there's a mount from that place. Maybe there is, but it's not. I think the main ones would be like ICC, Ulduar, Tempest Keep, right? There are a lot of people that run those raids every day or every week for years on multiple characters, and I guess they don't want people who have done that to feel like the need to go back there. But how does that mesh with this screenshot here, right? Like, wouldn't you be doing a transmog run of Seat of the Triumvirate basically to get the Argusian crate here? This seems kind of difficult for both of those things to be true. I guess maybe they would just put it in, like, you could have it be a deterministic drop, right? If it's an 100% drop, then that's different, right? You're not grinding for it, so they could make it a 100% drop. They could do, like, if there are specific pieces, you could drop like fractions of it, shards of it, something like that. But I think maybe this is something that they're going to want to end up rethinking. At least I don't think it makes sense to remove the prospect of RNG drop Decor from old raids and dungeons, because I think that's something that a lot of people would find kind of like a fun thing to log in and go do, right? Is go and grind, Maradon or whatever for the whatever Decor you want from it. Again, maybe bad luck protection. Maybe that could be something they do for this, is off the rip, have all Decor, implement a bad luck protection system for it, where if you kill the boss that drops it 10 times and it doesn't drop, congratulations, right? It drops. The other thing they could do to mitigate the downside of, in particular, these hyper rare mount and stuff drops. First of all, they could just make sure the Decor is never that rare. It's a lot of these we're talking about like 1% drops. You could just make the Decor all 10% or better. Secondly, what you could do is, if you wanted to put a piece of Decor in ICC, you could just grant it to everybody with Invincible, right? If you have Invincible, you get the Decor right now. If not, then you can go back and grind ICC. And hey, in addition to Invincible, now you're also grinding for this Decor, right? And that maybe gets somebody who otherwise wouldn't go grind it to grind it, and maybe they get the one that they weren't planning to get, and that's cool, right? I'm not sure. I understand the idea here. It seems like this paragraph conflicts with this screenshot, and with like a very obvious place that Decor can come from. So unless this screenshot is confirmation that Seat of the Triumvirate is in a future M+ season, I guess, because then it would be current content again. So maybe that's what this screenshot is confirming here. I don't know. Okay, finally, harkening back again to the long-lasting journey pillar, we're going to continue fleshing out Decor from past expansions in future patches, and they'll be earnable via the appropriate content of their expansion. So that makes sense, right? Like, obviously, this will launch, and then they will continue to support it. I think this is something that, there's been a lot of stuff in WoW where it's launched, and then the support kind of has stopped, and, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, they're still sort of supporting this feature, but not really anymore. An example of this is like, Paragon Reputation. Paragon Reputation was the system they launched in Legion, and like, okay, cool, we've got a way to get you excited about getting rep past the end of it. We've got these cosmetics you can get from Paragon chests, and nowadays all the reputations, every single Paragon chest just doesn't have any exciting stuff that can be inside of it, right? There's no cosmetics in those things anymore. And that's an example of like, okay, it's a system that they made, and now it's kind of clear that they're not really supporting it. Maybe they kind of regret making it. I'm not sure what was going on with that. And I think it's very important that housing doesn't go that way. I think it's pretty likely, though, that like this is clearly going to be a feature with a lot of excitement around it, with a lot of player support. So I would be, even though sometimes things go the way of archaeology or whatever, I don't think housing is likely to do that. And I think it will be good, again, not just to make new Decor for each patch, but to continue going back and putting stuff into old expansions as appropriate. One thing we'd like to give a heads up here is we intend to offer Decor rewards for past expansion meta achievements. A World Awoken, Back from the Beyond, and A Farewell to Arms are the 3 currently available. If you think you might be a Decor completionist, it's worth starting these in your downtime. Perfect. Yeah, again, I think as long as there is a lot of cool Decor you can get from easier sources, because these are all like giga grind achievements, as long as there's Decor you can get from easier sources than this, and it's cool and it's awesome, I think that's great. I think it's also great to add some aspirational Decor from these. And one thing I like about these is that compared to, say, Mythic Gallywix, these are a lot more achievable for somebody who plays the game a lot but doesn't do, AOTC plus content. And I think that that's an audience that is huge in the game. And in particular, I think that audience is going to be especially drawn to housing. Trust me, I'm a professional. We're not going to bury the lead here. Decor will be crafted by all existing non-gathering primary professions instead of creating a new profession solely dedicated to it. Each profession will be able to craft a few pieces of the appropriate Decor from each expansion using that expansion's version of the profession. E.g., to craft something from Mist of Pandaria, you will need the relevant Mist of Pandaria profession at the appropriate level. To craft something, players will need not only the required recipe and skill level, but they will also need to gather a new type of Decor-specific crafting reagent per expansion, as well as any required reagents from that expansion. And here we can see Classic Inscription has Ironwood Lumber. Looks like maybe it's that thing, right? Like it's the new reagent you need for that. In general, like most profession-made goods, crafted Decor can be traded to other players or sold on the auction house. Some examples of what professions will be able to make: blacksmithing makes Decor primarily out of metal. Enchanting creates magical Decor like floating books or glowing orbs. Jewel crafting creates Decor like gem-studded objects, as well as being the designated stoneworking profession, which makes sense, right? I think that's going to be the, obviously blacksmithing, leatherworking, tailoring. It's kind of easy to figure out how to give them a lot of recipes. How do you make it so that Inscription feels like it's still there? Well, you probably can't give Inscription as much juice as blacksmithing and tailoring, right? But you can see here they're trying, right, giving them coffins. Woodworking, I guess, is what's in the Inscription area, and there's a lot of stuff in that space. So actually, maybe Inscription will be fine. And then jewel crafting and enchanting for the kind of all the stuff you'd see in Silvermoon City makes sense as well. So I think this is definitely something where it'll be understandable if blacksmithing has twice the recipes of a lot of these other ones, but as long as all of the professions feel like they've got some stuff, I think that will be good. And again, I think all of this stuff being buy and sellable on the auction house is going to be really big. And hopefully it's fun to engage with this, right? Like hopefully it's fun to either go and make the profession recipe you want to either use yourself or sell on the auction house. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people engaging with it, so hopefully the price isn't too high. But something like a Northrend blacksmithing recipe, probably not a lot of people that have Northrend blacksmithing these days, so something good to go and grind. And again, 2 of the above points should be underscored. Your professions and their levels from past expansions matter, and so do some of the reagents from those expansions, just in case you were looking for something else to do between now and the launch of Housing. If they really want to make these things valuable and a way to make gold in particular, leaning on the daily reset, transmutes and stuff, the recipes you can only do once per day, is something that they could do. I hope they don't do too much of that, though. I hope most of these recipes are things you can buy for a couple hundred gold from the auction house, a couple thousand maybe, depending on what the reagents end up being. Some light housekeeping. We want to mention a smattering of related but smaller things as well before we wrap things up. Decorations are only placeable if you have enough of them based on how many you've collected. If you want to place 4 chairs, you'll need to collect 4 chairs. Furthermore, collected decorations are shared across your entire BNet account, so anything you collect on any character on any of your game accounts is shared across all of them. If you have 4 fountains and place 3 of them on the lawn of your Alliance house, your Horde house will only have 1 available to place. That seems fair. That seems like a good incentive to actually buy multiple pieces of decoration that you want. It's, I guess, a little bit less friendly than the transmog thing where it's like you unlock this one piece and you just have it. You don't need to collect 3 copies of plate shoulders for your paladin, DK, and warrior to all wear them simultaneously. But I think this is some friction that does make some sense here. On the flip side, there's the concept of unique decor that can only be placed once, no matter how many copies of it you have. It doesn't make sense to place 9 copies of Onyxia's head on your wall, despite how many times you may have killed her. I think this is fair. I think it would be nice if you could place at least 1 per house instead of 1 per account. So I think I would rather not have to choose between mounting a cool, unique decor piece on my Alliance house and my Horde house, ideally. So hopefully that's a restriction that doesn't carry through to unique decor. But I guess if it does, I'm not going to be too sad. I'll probably want to make my houses have different themes anyways and different decor in each of them. You'll note a mention of housing-specific activities later. That might be better worded as neighborhood-specific activities. So that's a pretty exciting thing. What kind of content could go into a neighborhood that has rewards associated with it to do? I'm not sure. I hope it's not the case that I need to make a neighborhood with only god gamers so that we can, clear the raid boss that spawns in the middle of the neighborhood or whatever, so we can all get a piece of decor. I hope that's not what they mean here. I imagine it's not. If it is, I'm probably going to be neighborhooding up with my guild anyway, so I guess we'll probably be well situated to handle that. But yeah, hopefully it's just stuff like visiting a bunch of houses and, those sorts of things in the neighborhood. We're committed to an ongoing release of new decorations, going both backwards into previous expansions as well as forward with new ones. What do you want to see? Yeah, I think that's a great thing to put either, as much as I say in the comments of this video, and hey, maybe they do read those, probably the comments of this blog post as well, which is linked in the description, is a good place to go and put those things. It does seem like they are actively being pretty, maybe they're either actively listening to the community on this one, or it's just whoever's in charge of this has a very good vision of what housing should look like. But I would say this is definitely something where if you have a specific cool idea or just a general desire for how this should work, if some of the things they said in this post either sounded great or sounded kind of sketchy to you, the discussion around, for instance, transmog runs, if you disagreed with me or agreed with me, either way, I think that's the kind of thing where you should probably make your voice heard now. This is the time where you can have probably the most impact on how this looks. Thanks so much for reading. We'll have plenty more to cover, and as usual, please keep sending your feedback both about rewards as well as what you're looking forward to hearing more about. We'll be at PAX East on May 9th for the Warcraft 30th anniversary celebration. Hopefully we'll get to see some of you there. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.